Thank you so much for joining us today for the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. Here on the Pastor's Potluck, it's similar to a normal potluck where you might get something that you want and there may be something that you just want to pass up altogether. And that's okay. There's something here for everybody. Our goal here is to encourage you and maybe in the process entertain you. If you're ready, let's dig in. Alrighty, we're back with another episode of the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. We are joined today by Pastor Jess. She is our children's pastor here at Southridge Church. It is a cold one today.
Yes, it is.
Goodness gracious.
I even broke out the beanie, and I don't ever wear beanies, so.
Yeah, no.
I'm not a hat person, but I don't care today. I'm that cold.
Yeah, it's cold. I'm drinking hot chocolate. I'm not much of a. If you see me drinking coffee, like I'm hurting, but hot chocolate just to keep me warm and hopefully a little bit of sugar give me some pep in my step.
I would rather hot chocolate. I'm not today though.
Are you?
You did offer.
Do you like marshmallows or no marshmallows?
Oh no, both. Yeah, for sure. I can do it either way. So this past weekend we went to that wedding for Aaliyah and Jacob, and they had a hot chocolate bar, and they had these candy bars that were crushed up. And normally I wouldn't do that, but I thought, let's just try it. So there were, I think it was like a Hershey bar or like a peanut butter cup or something. I don't know what it was. And I put it in there. Oh my gosh. It was so good. I think it was a peanut butter cup. I think it was a Reese. And it was delicious.
Was it Heath?
Oh, you know what? I wonder if that's what it was. I bet that's what it was.
It was like toffee? Was it like hard?
Yes.
Yeah,
I bet that's what it was. It was so good.
Yeah, because
I
don't know that.
It's delicious.
I've seen them do like the Heath pieces, you know, where they crunch it up and sell it in the bag. But like trying to crunch
like
peanut butter,
and
peanut butter doesn't crunch.
I bet that's what it was then. I bet that's what it was. But it was like they had those. They had like peppermint, and then there was something else. I don't remember what. Maybe like M&M type pieces or something. I don't know, but it looked like a delicious little chocolate bar. So I sprinkled some in there, and it was so good. Yeah,
that's one of my favorite candy is Heath. I like it. I like it because it kind of gets stuck in your teeth a little bit. I just like to work on them for try to work them out.
Luckily, they melted in the hot chocolate, so I don't have to worry about that.
Cool. Yeah, hot chocolate's great. Well, I wanted to talk about I wanted to recap like what an amazing year we've had.
Yeah.
Just looking back on it and just over all the different ministries that we've had here at Southridge, I think that it's just been incredible to see God's hand on every single ministry and ministry opportunity that we've had for people to serve at or contribute to. Just see God's hand. We wanted to see, certain amount of volunteers get involved, and that God puts it on people's hearts to sign up and volunteer and help these events that we have, and we see those numbers just being shattered. We see the amount of meals that we wanted to pack through
Impact
schools and also this I wear this thing and hat every single day. Kids around the world as we're doing the meal packing for them as well. And then God shatters the numbers for that. We see God's faithfulness, and whenever we put the idea or the opportunity out there for people to give towards let's take care of this church with kids around the world, and people give to pay off the church's debt. People are starting to give towards the playground that's going to be built down there in Ecuador. We've seen. I know that you and I have both prayed for volunteers to come, and we've seen people just show up in droves and just want to get involved and make things happen, which has been absolutely fantastic. It's just been incredible, and obviously there's been some difficult moments as well, but because of God's faithfulness and his goodness, it kind of gives you that little bit of gasoline just to kind of keep moving forward. It's some very difficult moments this past year, but because of God's goodness and his faithfulness, makes me not want to give up.
Yeah.
So for you, I don't even know how you even keep track of things like this, but what is one accomplishment just for you personally, before we get into the ministry stuff, for you personally, what is one accomplishment that you've done that you've been like super proud of?
So this morning on my way in, I was thinking like, cause I knew we were recording today, and I was like, okay, this is like a year in review. Like there has been a lot that's gone on this past year, but like, so I literally was thinking this through this morning in the car, and I'm like, you know what? And I'm sure that people have probably, like, they may be sick of hearing me say this, but for me, my biggest accomplishment this year has been graduating like 4.0 everything through grad school. Like, I don't know how many people can say that they had like straight A's through grad school.
Not me, because I didn't go.
But like that for me is a big deal, because like I've been to school a few times. So my first time going to college, went right out of high school, you know, I was the one that kind of was like, see his degree, you know, like you got this, like whatever. And then I went back to school and got my social work degree, my bachelor's in social work. And I worked my butt off. Like that was 5.5, almost 6 years ago. And I worked my butt off to do that.
Yeah.
I was on Dean's List. I made Honor Society, all of those things. And then now going back again as an almost 40-year-old, like going back, working full time, doing all of those things. And like, I worked my butt off to get the grades that I did. And I graduated with honors. I was inducted into the Honor Society and all of those things. And so that to me has probably been my biggest accomplishment this past year, is just
it's a huge one,
doing that. And living to see the next day, because there were some times that I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Why did we say yes to this? So, but
is it one of those things? I know that we've mentioned this before, but maybe if nobody caught the episode of you and I talking about this, are you planning, would you like to go back and get your doctorate?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
No.
Like you're done.
I'm over school. I've been to school 4 times, so I'm good.
Yeah.
I've got 3 of the 4 times I graduated. The third time that I went to school, the second time I went to school was to seminary. I did that for a year, found out it wasn't my thing, which is funny because now I'm working as a children's pastor. But I was going for missions.
Yeah.
So, but no, I'm done. Yeah. I'm absolutely done.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. Like my 2 oldest brothers have degrees from Bible schools, Bible universities, and they're not even in the ministry.
Yeah.
And me and my youngest brother didn't even go to Bible school, and we're both in full-time ministry, which is really weird and crazy. Like my 2 oldest brothers are in insurance or whatever. But moving right along, so, I mean, this has been like your first full, complete year of being a children's pastor. What have you found that has helped motivate you to continue to press on and move forward and press forward?
So in January, I went to the Children's Pastors Conference, and I'm pretty excited because we're going again in like just a few days. So, So that happened back in January. And when I went, I signed up for a membership for the organization INCM, which is the International Children's Ministry. And that's who puts on CPC. And so I signed up for this like membership. So I get access to all these different trainings and all this stuff. But in the midst of that, back in March, they sent out this thing and it said, hey, be a part of this leadership training. It's 9 months. You're going to learn about leadership. You're going to learn about what that looks like. Mm-hmm. And so for me, for being my first, August was so I started in August of 2021, and now August 2022 has been my first full year of ministry. But now we're coming up on like a full 4 year, like a full year, like 2022 has almost finished.
Yeah.
And so like there's been a bunch of different components and all that. But in the midst of that, I signed up for this leadership thing. And I think for me, that leadership training came at just the right time.
Yeah.
Because, and you can talk to Cheryl and a couple others, but February and March were really tough for me. Being a children's pastor, there were times where my core was shaken to where I truly did not think I was going to be able to do this.
Yeah.
And I started that leadership training in March, and we finished as a group. It was myself. We had a coach. His name's Stanley. He's fabulous. And it was me and 2 other children's pastors and Stanley, and he was our coach. And we walked through this 9-month leadership training. And I think for me, that has probably been what has kept me going.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sad that it ended. It ended in November.
Sign up for another one.
I know. But I went my same people. They were awesome.
Yeah.
But I think for me, that is what really kept me going. And I say that not in a bad way. I say that because during that time, I really learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about like ministry, and I learned a lot about the call that God has for me. And I have and had and still sometimes have some imposter syndrome. Like, I just don't sometimes feel like I belong or that I'm the right person for this. But that leadership thing really helped me to see, like, this is where God has planted you. This is where he wants you. And it was really cool because that final day that we did that training, it was like our celebration. And so we had to say like what we saw, our growth. And so like we all went around and we all like said like how we saw ourselves grow. And then the rest of the group said how they saw us grow. And it was just really cool to be able to hear other people who had literally been with me through some of the hardest times back in February and March all the way till November, and just hearing those things like, dude, Jessica, like, you are where you're supposed to be. Like, God is using you. Stop doubting that. And so I think for me, that has been probably the biggest push for me this past year, because it kept me going. When I wanted to quit and be down and out, they kept me going. And we were challenged last year at our reviews last year to find a mentor and to find a group of people that we can do life with that are similar in what we're doing. Yeah. And that is another reason why I took that INCM stuff on. And through that, I've met my mentor, Malia. She's amazing. We talk all the time. I'm getting ready to meet her in person at CPC. And so I think for me, I know, I'm so excited.
Watch her be like 7 feet tall. You're like, how come you never told me this?
But we've met on Zoom and things like that. And so it's just been really cool to make those connections. And really, I think that's what's kept me going this past year, is just knowing that I'm not alone in what I'm doing, and that there is a group of people that have been there, have walked it, and I can reach out to them no matter what. And that has been so helpful. More than I knew and what I think I realized. Yeah.
In those moments where there's like just loads of uncomfortable feelings, and feeling very vulnerable, it's kind of like, we've all done this. Take a rubber band and just play with it, right? And so you're just stretching it and bouncing it and trying to see its limit. And so that's what God does with us. Yeah. He takes us almost to our breaking and our popping point, so to speak. But he wants us to know that, like, look, I've got you. I just want you to grow. Yeah. And then over time, the rubber band continue. If you keep on stretching it, what happens is that it widens and it gets bigger, and then it can hold more. Now, obviously, like within a real world rubber band, there's only so much stretching that can happen before it just crumbles and fades away. But God does this great job of restoring us and keeping us true to him and ourselves as well. But it's in those moments of stretching that we have to just be like, God, I trust you. Yeah. I don't know why this is going on, but I trust you. Reveal to me why I'm going through this. Maybe this is something that I need to learn or whatever. And then whenever you look back on it, you go, I understand why I was so comfortable. It's because I needed to learn this, this, and this. I needed to grow out of this, this, and this, and grow into something new and bigger and better, what God has for me. So yeah, I think we've all had moments of those times where we were stretched. Yeah. I think for myself, like, I was just so stinking I held on to a lot of anger for a long time. And I wasn't necessarily an angry person, but I was angry because of circumstances that I've gone through in the past. I was angry at myself for believing things that people have said to me, that I was worthless and pointless, that I will never amount to anything in ministry. And these are church leaders who are saying this to me. People who you would normally and typically look up to. And, but I just felt like, I don't remember when. I should write stuff like this down, but that's just not the way I function. But I just remember one day just like feeling like this huge weight and this huge burden just taken off. And so that was like one of the crazy moments for me this past year. Obviously a learning experience, not to function in those labels. You know, we've all heard Pastor Scott preach that message, but not functioning in the labels that the world gives us, but functioning in the labels that God gives us. That I am worthy, that I am redeemed, that I have been saved, that I am a child of God. And functioning and moving forward and believing in those things. It's like, I don't know, God, how can you put that in an analogy? It's like being homeless your whole life and giving somebody saying, here's a brand new home. It's like, you don't know what to do. Like, I have to carry all my stuff around. No, you don't. Like, there's places for that now for your house. But it's been good. Really good. I've been super appreciative of what God has done in my life and letting me just drop that like a bad habit. Speaking of bad habits, was there any that you had this past year that you were like, I don't need to do this anymore? I'm not talking like smoking or anything like that. But like you found, it doesn't even have to be like what people think of a bad habit. Maybe something that was a habit that was just like, you know what? I think I need to maybe just rework how I approach this, or
procrastination.
Goodness gracious. Yeah.
But listen,
get rid of that.
I struggle with it. I've struggled with it my whole life. I'm like the worst procrastinator, but I will say I do my best work sometimes last minute. However, I have really, really, really tried to stop procrastinating. It doesn't always work, but that is something I really have tried hard at this year, is making sure that like I'm prepping, I'm getting things ready.
Yeah, if you think about it long enough, then you've got more time for ideas to come to you, to kind of like sit back and look at the things that you've already put together and see if it's going to
And
if
see,
it's really
I'm a
going to
planner
work.
anyways. Like I'm, it's weird. Like to be such a planner and to be so OCD at times with like, if you were to walk into my office, I have a calendar for 2023 already up on my wall. It already has stuff planned out on it. I have a bulletin board behind my desk that has like the next 6 months written out and things that I have, like things I have to do. And then I have calendars on my door in my office, the bathroom door in my office, that have like volunteer schedules on there. And then I have my desk calendar, and then I have my planners. Like I am very like OCD with those kinds of things. Like, and it all has colors and all this. Like I'm very OCD with those things. And so I can plan it out. But then what happens is like, I know it's on the calendar and I see it and I'm like, okay, I'll get to that. And then like I put it off because I know what I need to do, but I'm like, I'll get to that later. And so I really,
that's like
really
the
try.
Worst too.
It is because like, then I'm like, oh my gosh, like I put it off for too long. And now I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I did this to myself. Like I did this to myself. So like, we're getting ready to leave for CPC in a few weeks. By the time you all see this, it'll be like a week. And I'm already like, that's what I'm doing today is I am prepping. And I've already told myself this, like I am prepping the next 4 weeks of lessons today and tomorrow, because I'm going to be at CPC for one of those Sundays. And then that whole week I won't be here. So I have to prep that Sunday that I'm gone plus the following week, so that when we get back, I can just come in and do what needs to be done. So that has probably been my hardest thing. And it's not necessarily just this year. it's been my whole life, but I have really tried hard to stop procrastinating this year. And this is when it hit me that I needed to stop procrastinating. I got the stomach virus a few months ago. Oh, well, it's back in February, March, somewhere around there.
Wait, what? What just happened?
I know. Listen. It's back in like February or March.
I just had a stomach virus.
I had the stomach virus.
Like 9 months ago.
It was like back in February. Maybe it was sooner than that. Listen, I don't know. I had the stomach virus at some point in time this year, and it was on a Sunday morning. It hit me, and I couldn't get to church because I was throwing my guts up. And so I had to like reach out to people, and then I realized like I had not prepped everything for Sunday morning. The lesson was ready and stuff like that, but there were like little things that I still needed to put out.
Yeah.
And that's when it hit me like, Jessica, you have got to stop procrastinating. It's not even like there may be Sundays where you get sick and you can't be here. You already have to have that stuff done. So that's when it hit me like, oh my goodness, I'm throwing my guts up, and I have 2 of the crafts or 2 of the activities with me because I'd taken them home to finish them.
Yeah.
So they had to just improvise. So,
dude, whenever it comes to those things, if you've already got them planned out, like you got to plan it out more.
Yeah.
Because it's good that you're looking ahead and you're like, okay, I want to do this. But and people always, and it was like one of the hardest things for me to learn, and I hope that like I could share some wisdom with you. Maybe you can apply it, maybe you can't, whatever. I'll tell you what I do. So I have my date that I need something done, right? Like the absolute like say like if it's for something big, I've got it scheduled that I need to have everything ready to go like at least like a week and a half, 2 weeks before it's ready, right? Yeah. So what I do is I go, okay, I've got all these different things that I need to accomplish before this date. So I look back another 2 months, say, and then I say, okay, I just need to spend an hour here, and it gets put in my calendar. An hour here just to brainstorm. Then couple days from now, I need to just like see what sticks, what hasn't stuck, whatever, and then start to put in the details to where like my day is blocked off. Like I have days that I work on music, I have days that I work or hours that I work on music, I have hours that I work on content creation, maybe video, and then I have like on Thursdays is like nothing but like a free day for my mind, right? To where I'm still working, but there's nothing set up or tasked. Right. So to where I could just dream, to where I could just sit there and go and listen to music, watch ideas, try to get ideas for all the things that I'm creating and how to move forward with those and try to learn something maybe. But I always set up like little due dates for all these tasks that I've got that's leading up for this big thing going on.
I'm pretty excited. So I follow a children's pastor's page online.
Yeah.
And some amazing, fabulous children's pastor, I don't know who you are, but you're the rock star, made a children's ministry planner, like a whole year, and you could print it off, and I did it. And when I tell you the amount of excitement that I had.
Sounds like you don't need another planner.
Oh, no, I do. And I am super excited about it because it has like event planning in there. It has like all of those little tabs, and it's all, I printed it all out, and it's in a big binder. So when we come to meetings or when I go, out and about, I can take that with me, and I have everything that I need in that binder. We use Asana, to track those. That is not my way of I'm a very visual person and a very hands-on person at the same time.
Yeah.
Like I have to be able to write it down. I have to be able to check it off. That's just me. So while Asana is great, that's not the best way for me to organize myself.
Yeah.
And so, because I have to write it down. And so I'm super excited about this because it has budget stuff in there. So I can track my own budget now. It has passwords in there. I mean, everything. So if for some reason I'm out or something happens, someone can pick this binder up and literally be able to do whatever needs to be done because it's the
children's ministry Bible.
It's the
yeah,
that's what it's going to be.
You should.
I'm pretty excited about it. I've already printed it off. I have all my little color-coded pins in there.
Yeah.
My OCD is real bad, y'all. Real bad.
Hey, that's all right. Now, I guess that that would fall underneath good habits.
What, the OCD? I don't know.
Yeah,
About
I don't.
that,
Yeah, I mean, whatever gets the job done, right? Like, but what are like some good habits this past year that you've picked up?
Oh goodness. Being intentional.
Yeah.
That is something that I've really, really tried. I try that all the time, but I feel like this past year I've really tried to be more intentional with just who I'm talking with. Reaching out. Like if someone's name is on my mind, I'm reaching out. Like I really try my hardest. Like if someone is on my mind and I can't get them off my mind, there is a reason for that. And so even if it's just a simple like, hey, I had you on my mind, I just wanted to let you know I'm thinking of you today, whatever. I've really tried to be intentional about that this year.
Yeah.
And something that I have really enjoyed doing is writing thank you cards. So I have made that my own personal like mission. So like if someone does something for me, someone does something for kids ministry, if someone has taken us to lunch or someone has done something like that, like I know we as staff a lot of times will do a big group card, but I try my best to do a personal card too, just because I want people.
Us, hey.
No. I want people to know how much I really and truly do appreciate what they're doing. Because
absolutely.
I think for me, like, I don't know. I think for me, like, I think sometimes we, as just a society, have forgotten to take time for people. And in the last 2 years, everyone has been so, well, I guess almost 3 years now.
Just distant. Everyone
has been so distant.
Yep.
And I remember at my old job, I remember that very first, like, 6 months of COVID, I listened to a training, and the lady said, we have to stop calling it social distancing, because while we are social distancing, we don't have to be. Yep. We can physically distance without socially distancing ourselves. And I think for 2.5, almost 3 years, we have socially distanced ourselves. And now I feel like we have to be intentional with getting people like back together. Mm-hmm. We have to be intentional with that. And so that has really been something that I try my hardest to do. I love sending volunteers like thank you notes after, every now and then for what they've done. Yeah. Or just like reaching out to people online. I actually reached out to my cousin a few months ago and had no idea. She was just on my mind when I woke up that morning. So I reached out to her. And she texted me back and she's like, oh my gosh, you don't know how much I needed this. She's like, I'm literally walking into jury duty right now and I feel like I'm going to throw up. And she said, I have major anxiety. And she's like, you seriously don't know how much that just made my day. Yeah. And I think for me, like just making sure that I'm being intentional, because you don't know, like there may be a reason why God's placed that person on your heart. And so I've really tried to be intentional with those things. And also something that I've really tried to do too is just be aware of just the way in which I am communicating with people and with others. Like, I know that I can sometimes come across very harsh. And so I've really tried this year to be intentional with the way I speak with people and the way I talk with people.
Yeah, I think I struggle with that too. Because and
taking accountability, like that's really like I had to apologize to someone the other day. And if people know me, like I don't like to apologize. And that sounds awful, but I just don't. Like, I would rather just do the right thing the first time than to have to apologize. And so, like, I reached out to someone the other day, and I was like, listen, I'm really sorry. And she's like, girl, I didn't even think anything of it. But it's making sure, like, being intentional with those things.
It's super important. I mean, just because, like you said, just with everything that's happened, I mean, and we're still kind of sort of living this distance
post-pandemic life.
This distance lifestyle, and it's not conducive to relationships, especially at church or with people from church. And I called someone the other day who's dealing with like just some unknown circumstances with their brand new baby. And he sent me a text the following day. He's like, dude, you never know how much that phone call meant to me. Yeah. And I said, and just real short, I was like, dude, that's what friends do, homie. And just left it at that. But I don't do it to make people say thank you for doing that.
No.
I want people to feel like I genuinely care about them. You know, I find it's difficult sometimes whenever people don't have something going on in their lives that we're praying for. And that's one of the things like I'm going to really try to be super intentional about this next year, or not even waiting till next year. I could start that crap today. It's just being super intentional in the good parts of life as well as the bad parts. Because I feel like I do really well with like crisis care. Because it's on my radar and it's on my heart, because I hate that people go through, you know, losing a loved one, or one of their family members is sick, or they're just dealing with something with their job or whatever. I feel like I do that really well, but I need to be super intentional about just like, hey, like, let's go do something. Why? I'm not sick.
No,
I'm not going through anything.
No.
Why are you calling me?
I think that's actually so. I've been thinking of like my goals for this coming year. Like we've had, like I said, we've got reviews and stuff like that. And one of the things we were challenged to do was come up with goals for this next year, and kind of keeping with that intentionality. Like that's one of my goals, is to be intentional with my volunteers. Like I am close with a handful of my volunteers because they're my friends outside of church, but I have so many other volunteers.
Yeah, but you don't call them friends.
Huh?
You don't call them friends.
Who?
Your friends.
No, that's my besties. They're my besties. What up, girls?
I did that for one person and one person alone, and that dude.
Terry?
No, that
like,
dude
Terry?
knows who
What?
I'm talking about. It's Terry's husband.
Oh, Kenneth.
He just kind of shakes his head every time y'all are like,
At us?
bestie.
What up, Kenneth? Kenneth, you better be listening to this one.
Oh, he listens. I promise you he listens.
I'll see him at New Year's.
Dude, that was a breakthrough I had. His little boy let me pick him up the other day.
That was
a good
huge.
breakthrough this past year.
That was huge. Yeah. But that's one of my my goals for this coming year, is to be intentional with volunteers. Like if that means once a month we're going and doing things like a group of 3 or 4 of us, then that's what we're going to do. We're just going to go and we're going to have fun, because I want to continue to foster those relationships, because I think that's important. Yeah. And so that's one of my goals, is just to continue to be intentional with them in fostering those relationships, because if I can foster my relationship with them and pour into them, then they're able to pour more out. Like you can't pour from an empty cup. And so I want to be able to pour into them, so then they can go and pour into others. And so that's one of my goals for this coming year. Yep.
Super awesome goal. What are there anything else that you're kind of looking forward to in 2023? Not necessarily goal setting or habit forming, but like, you know, like there's something that you're like, man, I just can't wait to do this.
Honestly, I'm really excited because we're going back to New York this summer for a missions trip. So I'm excited for the missions opportunities that we have. New York is like my home away from home. It's so funny because I've never lived there, but I get homesick for there. I know that probably sounds so silly, but I mean, for the last 7 years, I've probably been there 1,000 times. Like that's what it feels like at times, because it really is like a home away from home. So I'm really, really excited about doing that in June. I'm super excited about the Ecuador trip. I think that'll be awesome. I'm excited about Vacation Bible School again. We had such an awesome relaunch this past year. So I'm really excited to see what that looks like again this year. And really camp. Like I was so nervous about camp this past year and didn't really know what to expect, but we had like 27 kids just from Southridge that attended camp, and there were like 40 kids total. So I mean, we had like half of the kids at camp. And so it was just really cool to see them get excited, and for some of them it was their first time. Like it was my nephew's first time ever going to a church camp, and so it was really cool to kind of be able to be a part of that and see them get excited.
I don't want anything to do with any camps. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Next year.
I don't know. Those types of things, anytime that we can do things that are just fun with the kids, I enjoy that. I'm also excited. So 2 years ago, last year, I guess, I started, okay, so this is another highlight from 2023. Okay. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. So last year in 2022, well, I'm already skipping to next year.
Yeah.
So in 2021, I started birthday trips with my niece and nephew.
Yeah.
And we had a blast. Last year, Landon and I went to the Louisville Slugger Museum. Olivia and I went to this little girl's spa thing in Columbus. It was fun. This year, Livy got to take a friend, so she took her cousin Jocelyn, and we went to Indianapolis. We went to the zoo. We went to the Children's Museum. We did all those fun things. We got to hang out with our family that lives there. It was a blast. Landon didn't know what he wanted to do, and so we started throwing ideas out. And so me and Landon and his friend Cade and my cousin Alyssa and her husband and their 2 boys, we all got to go to a NBA game this past year. So it was just a couple weeks ago. It was awesome. So me and Landon and Cade, it was our very first NBA game. So here I am, 38, and going to my very first NBA game. It was fabulous. So I can't wait for what they choose for 2023. I know what Olivia and I are doing, and Megan is going with us. We're going to Florida for Universal because Olivia is in love with Harry Potter. So we're going to go to Harry Potter World for her birthday, but I don't know what Landon and I are going to do. So I'm super excited about what.
Take him to a Cubs game.
Well, so he and Scott want to go to a Wrigley game. So, but his birthday's in October, which is right in the midst of like baseball season and stuff. So we normally have to like finagle his birthday trip in. So he may just have to have an early birthday trip this year. So I don't know. He asked me if he'd go to a football game. And so I was like an NFL game or like a college game? Like, what do you want to do? So he doesn't know yet. So I have a feeling that Landon and I are going to be doing lots of sport things for his birthday trips. And I am totally okay with that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've never been
excited.
to an NFL game. We used to have season tickets for the San Antonio Spurs whenever we lived in Texas.
That was so fun. That was
NBA
a
games
blast.
are
That was
great.
my first one. It was the Indiana Pacers versus the Brooklyn Nets. And it was so fun. The boys were hysterical. So, like, of course, Kevin Durant is playing for the Nets, and Steph Curry's brother, Seth, plays for the Nets, and then Kyrie Irving all play for the Nets. So, of course, there's not really, like, a whole lot. Like, Miles Turner was the big person for the Pacers. And the boys, when they first came in, they were like, we want Pacers shirts. So, of course, we have to get these Pacers shirts. We have to get the Pacers basketballs. We have to do all of these things. And at first, when we first went in, they were like cheering for the Nets. Like they're wearing their Pacers shirts, but they're cheering for the Nets because they thought it was so cool that KD was playing. Well, then the Pacers started to win. So when the Pacers started to win, the boys flipped the switch and they're cheering for the Pacers. Well, there's a guy like 2 rows back from us who is like heckling KD, which we're in the nosebleed. He can't hear you. But this guy is yelling like, KD, we can see your bald spot and like all this stuff. Well, to an 8 and a 9-year-old, that is hysterical. Like that is the funniest thing ever. So I have videos of Landon and Cade like yelling at Kevin Durant, telling him he needs a wig and we can see his bald spot and all these things. So it was really fun to be able to be there with them for their first time, you know, doing the NBA game, but also for me, myself being the first time for the NBA. That was a blast. I lived in Kansas City. I was literally 5 minutes from the stadium. So I have been to NFL games. I've been to
baseball games,
MLB games, and Kansas City had a professional soccer team. So I've actually been to a Sporting KC game, which I'm not a soccer fan. Yeah. But those games are intense. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Oh my goodness.
Especially like all the locals that go and watch those things. They bring all their drums and horns and everything, and they're jumping up and down.
I had never seen something like that before. It was crazy. I only went to one. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just going to cross NBA off the list. Now I feel like I need to go to a hockey game, but
hockey is okay. I mean, you have to kind of do some research and kind of understand like what's going on because people be skating around with this stupid puck and then they'll whistle something and then everything stops. And you're like, what happened? And they're like, oh, he was offsides.
I'm like, or something. I don't know.
Like, how does offsides mean? Like, they're inside like an enclosed like rink. It's not like football offsides. Yeah. It's weird. I don't know.
Sorry. That was just, but 2023, what am I looking forward to? That's one of the things I'm looking forward to is these birthday trips again because I don't know, they're just fun. And it's just, they literally talk about it for forever. I mean, that's all they've talked about. Landon will literally be like, Aunt Jessa, remember when we did this? Remember when we did that?
Yeah.
And Livy's the same way. Aunt Jessa, what are we going to do next year for my birthday? I'm like, what do you want to do for your birthday? And so we already know, like, this is what we're doing for hers. But that's one of the things I'm looking forward to for sure.
Dude, there's a passing of the torch. You get to hand over one of my kids to Pastor Anna this summer.
I do. I'm kind of sad, though. Listen, he is such a big helper.
Yeah.
He really is. Like, I'm really sad that we're going to be, I don't want to say losing him, but losing him.
Yeah, quote unquote.
Going to the 5th grade. We have a huge
Sixth
group.
grade.
6th grade, I mean, sorry.
Yeah.
We have actually a huge group that's going from like leaving 5th and going into 6th.
Like how many kids?
So like 6 or 7, which is big.
Yeah.
So we actually just had a few new families start and they have 5th graders.
Yeah.
So actually one of the things that I'm excited about that most of them are boys. Actually, I think all of them are boys with the exception of one. They don't even know about this, but starting in January, we're going to be doing like a shift 56 type thing. And once a month on a Sunday morning, they're going to get to go with them in the youth so they can start to kind of prepare themselves. So then when summer hits, they can still do kids things like kids camp and things like that. But they can also still do teen things also and not feel like they're the low man on the totem pole. So that'll be exciting for them. But we'll lose Luke, we'll lose Max and Aiden, we'll lose Eli, we'll lose Cam. And I want to say there's one girl. I want to say it's Brooklyn, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Brooklyn might be in 4th, but I think she's in 5th.
Yeah.
So
is it the kinder girl? The real tall one. Isabella's?
No. Sophia moved up, or Cassie moved up last year.
Oh, okay.
And then Sophia is in 4th grade, I think.
Dude, she's tall.
I know, she's really tall.
Gracious for 4th grade.
Yeah. No, it would be Sam's daughter, Brooklyn. I think she's in 5th, I think.
Well, cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. I'm looking forward to this mystery meat question.
Dun, dun, dun. I always get the weird ones.
Dude, that's just part of it.
Oh,
I don't know if anybody realizes this, but every single question in this jar is weird.
No, I swear, I think I get the worst of the worst.
Oh,
wait, before we go any further, Jared, you asked about a habit that I have picked up. You will be so proud of me. Anyone that's watching this would be proud of me. I have started listening to 15-minute podcasts, and I do not like podcasts. I picked that up in the last month. The fact that you're laughing at the mystery meat and it hasn't even been read yet.
Oh, I'm crying.
Jeez.
Would you let me post something on your social media right now?
Heck yeah. What do you want? You want it? What do you want? Instagram? You want the Facebook? What do you want?
I want Facebook that posts to Instagram.
Oh, no, you got to do Instagram then to post to Facebook.
Whatever.
Okay. Are you taking a picture? What are you doing?
I don't know what I'm going to do.
I'm
you
really
have to give me a second to think.
Okay.
Is that scary?
No, not at all. I don't care. I mean, you're going to keep it G-rated, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
this is a church podcast.
That's why I'm saying, like, I don't care. That's
I
that's
totally
the
forgot
IG.
how to use Instagram.
I don't know how Facebook relates to Instagram. Like, I don't know how to do that. You can post on my TikTok too. I'm TikTok famous, bro.
TikTok famous.
Yeah, I got like 5,000, 6,000 followers. I had a video of me and Landon that went viral.
Like how many views?
I have no idea. I can look it on there.
Alrighty, let's see. So
and I told these people, listen, I don't know why y'all are following me because I'm really not that funny, but they keep doing it.
Jared asked to post something. I should tag myself, right?
Yeah. Am I friends with you on the IG?
Jared.
I don't know. Listen, I don't pay attention to the IG. I'm private on the IG because people are weird. I had someone send me a message the other day that was like, hi, I be your friend. No, you're not going to be my friend. Sorry. I don't know you.
I already know what I'm doing. Okay, hold on.
All right. For those of you who are watching, you know what's happening. For those of you who are not watching, Jared picked the mystery meat and it was, will you let me post something on your social media? And I said, sure. So Jared has my phone. He is currently posting on Instagram, which will then post to my Facebook. So when you watch this, you can go back on my Facebook and my Instagram and see what Jared posted.
Okay, hold on.
Maybe I'll reshare it.
Post to other Instagram accounts? No. Facebook? Yes.
Yep.
All right.
Post to other Instagram accounts. It'll go to my Refit page and Southridge Kids. All right, but
read the caption.
Meeting with my therapist.
Sometimes that's what it feels like. No, it's all good.
That's hilarious.
That's G-rated.
Listen, I will reshare this.
Yeah.
On when's this go live? The 29th?
Yeah.
The 30th?
Yeah,
the 30th.
one of those two.
Next Friday.
Yeah.
The 30th. I will reshare this so people can see it.
People are going to think, what the heck goes on during the day here at Southridge? No, but thank you for letting me do that. Thank you so much for listening. It's been an incredible year. You guys have remained faithful and listening each and every single week. Don't forget, hey, we had one question submitted.
Did more people submit?
Only one question, but that's way better than than the last year.
So this year we need 2 people.
Yeah, we need 2 to smash records, guys. So submit two questions. You could do that. But thank you so much. Let us know on the social media where you are or what you are looking forward to in the next year. We love you all. God be with you in this next year. We hope that it's a prosperous and fruitful year for each and every single one of you.
Yes.
Y'all have a wonderful one. We'll see you
Happy
later.
New Year.
Thank you so much for listening in with us today. We really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram. You can also watch the video version of this on YouTube as well. All you have to do is search up the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. From all of us here, we want to say thank you, and we'll see you next week.